A wild night at UFC 282 led to 10 straight finishes. Also, Paddy Pimblett beat Jared Gordon, and Blachowicz versus Ankalaev ends in a draw. Can you believe that? We'll get into these topics and more next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the Community MMA with your host, Chris Cross.
Oh, Paddy the Baddy, Paddy the Baddy, Paddy the Baddy. Oh my God, bro. Welcome to the Community MMA. It's your boy, Chris Cross, checking in, and what a wild night. Absolutely wild night at UFC 282. 10 straight finishes from the first fight of the night all the way to the third fight of the night. And then you get two crazy decisions featuring Paddy Pimblett getting the win over Jared Gordon, and then Blachowicz versus Ankalaev ending in a draw. And you know what that means? That means the belt remains vacant in a light heavyweight division. What's the next step? Who knows? This gives Ilia Topuria even more time to recover, which is probably a good thing for him. The biggest loser last night, Glover Teixeira, who is expected to fight the winner, right? But there's no winner. So this leads to all type of speculation of what's going to happen next. Also, one of the big topics, and this is the best time to cover this, as we've covered it for years now, is that the UFC needs a point system, right? In what other sport, even college football has figured this out, but in what other sport do you have a title situation, a championship fight in this situation, end in a draw? When clearly in the numbers, Magomed Ankalaev dominated with over 11 minutes of control time, multiple takedowns, dominated in the striking. Yeah, Blachowicz may have won the first 3 rounds, closely. But at the end of the day, if you have a point system, it's not even close. It's like 300 to 150, Ankalaev. Absolutely crazy that we don't have a champion this beautiful Sunday morning. So let's get into some reactions from last night. This is how it looked as it went down. Blachowicz versus Ankalaev is up first. All right, Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev going to a decision here after 5 huge rounds. Blachowicz winning after 3, dominating the leg kicks to the calf on both legs. Don't know how Ankalaev continued after 3 rounds, taking those leg kicks. But then in rounds 4 and 5, Ankalaev went with the takedown game. Got the takedowns. Ended up having 11-20 of control, 2 takedowns, and dominated everywhere but leg kicks to the leg. Right, 182 to 79 total strikes. Here they come together now. Get the results. Significant strike, 79 to 58. So Ankalaev is likely going to become the new UFC light heavyweight champion. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be split. 48-47 Blachowicz. 48-46 Ankalaev. It's a draw. It's a draw. The belt is vacant still. What? Unbelievable. Wow, the crowd is stunned. The fighters are stunned. So these two guys are fighting for the vacant belt after going 5 strong rounds, right? They decide to fight for the belt. They're not prepared for 5 rounds. They go 5 rounds. It's an absolute battle back and forth, and we get a split draw. And I bet the word split draw is going to be trending today. So now Joe Rogan's interviewing both. Wow, split draw. No champion. So what does the UFC do now? Yeah, so that's the way this thing turned out. That's what it looked like in real time. I mean, you have the build-up. You can't wait for this fight to happen. Last title fight of the year, and it's a draw. And the belt remains vacant. So basically, nobody's going to change positions in that division. Ilia Topuria 1, Glover Teixeira 2, 3 and 4, Blachowicz and Ankalaev. And I say we need a rematch. Glover Teixeira's got to wait, in my opinion. And if Blachowicz didn't get tired and he's stuck with the leg kicks and he could defend the takedowns better at the end of the fight, he wins the fight. I mean, he's dominating through 3 rounds. And when I say dominating, I don't mean in terms of striking, but in terms of leg kicks at a calf, both legs. Ankalaev stumbled multiple times. He switched his stance. Blachowicz went after the opposite leg, and both legs were severely hurt in this fight. But Ankalaev did what he had to do and went right for the takedowns and dominated the control in rounds 4 and 5 and said, I was robbed. Where's my title? Even saying he doesn't want to fight in the UFC, and they had to explain to him that this is not a UFC thing. The UFC does not pick the judges. They do not pick the scoring. And it's a real problem because you have one round that's very close that goes to one fighter. Then you have another round that's dominating that goes to the other fighter, and it's still 10-9 in each round. So that's a problem for me. In boxing, back in the day when you had 15 rounds, fine. You have 10 rounds now, fine. 5 rounds, 3 rounds, not enough for just 10-9s. We need a point system. And the boxing commission has to do something here. So the crowd was left stunned. I mean, a draw in a title fight. And every time someone says, someone will be leaving here with the belt tonight, in back of my mind, I'm like, not unless there's a draw. People forget that draws are possible in the UFC, and that's exactly what happened. Now, in the co-main event, you had Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon. And originally, the stats looked like they totally favored Gordon. And then after the fight was over, they were updated. And you'll see in real time how it looked last night as those stats were updated. Here's the final result for Paddy Pimblett. So that'll do it. The fight's over. Paddy Pimblett, Jared Gordon are going to a decision. And I hate to say it, but Paddy Pimblett lost his fight. We'll have to wait and see how they judge on the scorecards. It's 61-47. Gordon in significant strikes. Total strikes 95-75. Control time 6 minutes and 30 seconds for Gordon. 3 takedowns. And a lot of that control time coming in the 3rd round. It's like he ran out the clock on Paddy the Baddy. So he's at least going to get 2 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 30-27 in there. Paddy Pimblett putting his hands up, but I think he's got to know in his head that he lost his fight. And it's tough because Paddy is probably thinking, I wasn't hurt. Right? I wasn't hurt. He just held me down. Wasn't really close to being submitted, anything like that. So I'm still going to get the win. I mean, he's hopeful, but I don't think it's going to go his way here. And if he does lose, how does that affect his status going forward? Right? He was on the rise. And now we'll see what happens. Here we go. Bruce Buffer. It's going to be unanimous. Yep. 29-28. No way Paddy's getting this. Paddy got the win? What? Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh, okay. So now they're updating the stats, though. It's 63-58 he led in significant strikes. That's crazy. Why is it so far off? Total strikes almost even. The 310, all right. It might not be as bad as it initially looked. I mean, they've definitely updated the stats here in the last few seconds. And now you see Paddy led in significant strikes, 63-58. Okay, that changes the game. That's a big difference. Yeah, we've been on the wrong end of this so many times as far as decisions that I'm not going to argue this one. I thought Paddy lost the fight. Watching it, he was controlled, but we've seen this before where guys have controlled fights. Significant strikes are close and it goes the other way because they don't get much credit for just holding their opponent down. And that's what happened to Jared Gordon last night. He got sort of robbed because he thought, I controlled the fight, especially one round. But the judges gave the other 2 rounds to Paddy Pimblett, and that's just the way that this thing goes down. And we'll take it, baby. We'll take it. Yes. Paddy Pimblett gets the win, baby. His stock continues to rise. Oh, Paddy the Paddy. And you hear people saying, oh, he's overhyped, this and that. But listen, the guy won. Paddy the Paddy. My man won, and we'll take it. We will absolutely take this one after being on the wrong side of a lot of fights. Now, Ilia Topuria dominated last night, too, against Bryce Mitchell, a guy that was 15-1 and a guy that was 12-0. Featherweight division. This division, to me, might be number 2 now, ahead of the welterweight. Oh, big right by Topuria. As this thing heats up here around 2. Now Mitchell comes in for the takedown. Oh, he gets taken down instead. Now Topuria's back on top. And that's Topuria's first takedown of the fight. And Bryce Mitchell looks tired. High-level featherweight fight here. 2:10 left in round 2. Look at Topuria swinging around. He's got the back now. Lands a right-handed punch from behind. And Bryce Mitchell is completely gassed. And he's in trouble here. Oh, Topuria's got a tight squeeze here. And Bryce Mitchell taps. Oh, my goodness gracious. Wow. Wow. What a fight by Topuria. And Bryce Mitchell looks dejected. You got to consider it 15-1 Bryce Mitchell. Now 15-2. Ilia Topuria stays undefeated. He goes to 13-0. And this is about the highest level featherweight fight you can see between 2 fighters that aren't both in the top 10. Yeah, so Ilia Topuria looked dominant last night over a fighter in Bryce Mitchell who seems to win every fight and is dominant himself, but not last night. Ilia Topuria took home the win. And the sky's the limit for this guy. He's an undefeated featherweight, and he's ready to rock and roll against the rest of the division. Make no mistake about it. You also had 18-year-old, a guy that's returning to high school after this fight. I mean, it's insane. Raul Rosas Jr. makes his UFC debut in a dramatic way. And Rosas getting underneath now. Oh, he's squeezing tight. Jay Perrin's in a world of trouble. Looked like he tapped right there, but the ref didn't see it. Okay, he gets the hands out, though. But now you got Rosas Jr. with the body triangle wrapped around. He's got the back, and Jay Perrin is just carrying all his weight at this point. And already an impressive performance. If he can finish it, it'd be even more impressive. But Rosas Jr. here in the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds of his career looking really strong. Youngest fighter in the UFC. Well, UFC history, really. And he's looking to get underneath, but he can't. I mean, Perrin's trying to... Oh, it's deep now. And Perrin taps, and that's it. Look at this. The youngest fighter in UFC history finishes his first fight in the first round via submission, and the crowd is going crazy. Mexican flags flying high. And man, what a debut. 18 years old. What's this guy going to look like when he's like 25? I mean, forget about it. And that's why we put him on the do list, top 20 already. Because the future is sky high and very bright for Raul Rosas Jr. Man. Yeah, so Rosas Jr. looked impressive last night. This guy's going back to high school, ladies and gentlemen. Right? I mean, tomorrow he'll be in his high school classes. And he wanted the fighter bonus last night so he can get his mom a minivan. I mean, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So that she could drive him to the PI, to the Performance Institute. You also had Rosenstrike. The only fight last night we did the full fight reaction. Little did we know it wouldn't last very long at all. Because we knew it was 2 heavyweights. We knew Rosenstrike in the interviews all week said he's going to come in fast and furious. And he did not let down in one of the top 10 or 15 fastest UFC finishes ever. Here we go with Rosenstrike versus Dawkins. This fight should be a banger. Ladies and gentlemen. Rosenstrike said he's coming out quick, so let's do the full fight reaction and see what happens. Dawkins, a big guy. Both guys heavyweights, obviously. They touch gloves. And here we go. Rosenstrike comes in, takes a right already, but here he comes with a big right. Oh, a big left. Wobbles Dawkins. Who's in trouble? Dawkins goes down. And he's going to get back up. Rosenstrike's pounding away. And Dawkins is in serious trouble already. Oh, man. And Rosenstrike's pressing forward. Oh, there's a big left, and that's it. 23 seconds into the fight. Biggie Boy sets the crowd on fire, and we've had nothing but finishes here at UFC 282. Yeah, so great night of action last night. Make no mistake about it, as we look at the due list, nothing changing in the top 10. No one fighting. But when you look at 11 through 20, you got Paddy and Rosas Jr. at 18 and 20. Both of those guys won. So they hold serve, and they'll remain in the top 20 for sure. Pimblett might even move up to 16 ahead of Gamrot, but we'll update that later in the week. But that's what the due list looks like. Remember, this is just my favorite fighters. Don't trip thinking pound for pound. That's not what it is. Just my favorite fighters. So as we get into some comments over the last few days, Islam Makhachev, you had Pimblett said Islam is the truth and Islam will be dominating. Yes, he will be against Volkanovski for sure. EP Man says Roman is just going to get KO'd by Hamza, just like Gerald GM3 did. Yeah, Gerald Mearshart, like 17 seconds. Al Topo Maktapo. The guy is a good fighter, but not at Hamza level. Yes, beating Jack is good, but I saw a guy who would get wrecked by Hamza. Didn't see a great fighter. I just think he matches up well with Hamza, but really, who does? I mean, yeah, Hamza gets the win there for sure, in my opinion. Al Topo Maktapo, 100% disagree. Gordon will destroy Paddy Pimblett. He has been training with Khabib and Islam and Bilal. But that didn't matter. He still lost. People might be upset with that decision, but it is what it is. BB says if Till turns up correct, he should have won. And it didn't go Darren Till's way last night. We didn't get into that one. But Darren Till was a big letdown last night, getting dropped in the third round. Finished. And Trey, Paddy Pimblett is a hype job. In his next fight, he's going to sleep. Fight hop. Never bet against Ilia Topuria. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon for a lot of people. He's for real. Thomas, goodbye. Gordon got completely robbed. Pimblett is a total bum. And that's the discussion today. We'll be saying about Rosenstrike, will it be over a round and a half? And we didn't get to respond to that one, but it clearly didn't go a round and a half. So I guess everybody should have took the under there, which you want to do usually in a heavyweight fight, especially involving a guy like Rosenstrike. Illinois Bigfoot, I like it. Paddy Pimblett will dominate Jared Gordon. He didn't dominate, but he got the win. Al Topo Maktapo, we all wish for that. And it's possible because of South African strikes like Brunson in terms of Darren Till, but he did not get the win. Dricus Duplessis finishes Darren Till. Gerhard Freestock says you are wrong. Yep, sure was wrong on that one. Make no mistake about it. We can't be right every time, ladies and gentlemen. We can't be right every time. So a great night of action at UFC 282, the last big pay-per-view of the year. Last title fight of the year ends in a draw. And man, some wild scenes last night at UFC 282. I mean, we couldn't have hoped for a better finish to a card. Drama-filled, Paddy Pimblett getting the victory, much to the chagrin of a lot of fans that are against him. But for fans like myself and others that are wearing the blonde wigs and things like that, I got to get me one of those blonde wigs. But I know the blonde wig people, Paddy the Baddy. I want one of those too. I want a jacket that says Paddy the Baddy. I'm all about it. But things went our way last night for the most part. But I still, I'm wrong on my prediction of Jan Blachowicz because even though it's a draw, we did not get our prediction correct. There's no ties here. Even if it was a tie, we were simply wrong on Jan Blachowicz. But for now, we got to let it rest right there. We'll finish the year out next week with Sean Strickland getting in the octagon. Can't wait to see that one. But for now, it's your boy Chris Cross. Hope you have a great day, and God bless. Peace.